So last time around, I shared our newly acquired milling machine and all the accessories that came with it. I'm really hoping that's going to step up our game as far as these restoration projects go and tackle the larger pieces that this little mill drill can't handle. Case in point, I've got some racking pieces coming up that are way too long for this machine, and that new milling machine should be able to just eat these things up. Now, as I said last time, I don't intend for that milling machine to become a restoration project of its own. I just want to get it working. And the main thing there is to clean up all the rust so that the machine isn't grinding itself to pieces as I'm using it. So I'm going to get started on the dividing head. I've already got it here in the workshop, and I think it's going to be a fun little project. We're going to get this torn apart so we can start derusting it and see if we find any surprises inside. Always scare me. Alright, we're 3 for 3. Never know how many problems flathead screws are going to give you. They can get locked in pretty good. I guess somebody repaired this thread at some point in time. There we go. Man, these are all tight. This is for direct indexing. Seems like it's a little frozen up. There we go. I think that's a stud that's coming undone. Oh, these are all studs that are coming undone. Oh, yeah. Oh. Well, there you go. I don't know if that's supposed to be grease or oil in there, but it's goo. This is going to have to go back on to give me something to... There it is. Yes, it will. This is truly a mess. It has to go in that orientation. Thing is still heavy, but now at least I can clean it. This will go in the safety clean sink, and we'll go from there. Get the spindle out first. I think before we put this back together, I'm going to make a wrench that specifically fits that nut.
Three days later.
We're back over here with a few more things to put in the safety clean sink. Still working on this dividing head. And I gotta say, there isn't a single piece of this dividing head that isn't heavy. What a mess. Alright, I'm just gonna let these soak for a while. While they do, the new overload block has arrived. That should fit in there and give us the ability to set a higher current rating. This all has to come out though. Red, blue, black. So red. They must have changed their arrangement on these just a little bit, because this is not quite fitting right. Yeah, this is not the same. Oh, it's looking like we ordered the wrong one. We want this one here, RW27 1D3 D063. We're not going to hear that run today. I'm starting to think it'd be easier to have replaced the whole thing. CWM910E. So much nicer to deal with. Oh, I think this is a brake. Front direct indexing plate here. The way this thing was, you couldn't even touch it without getting dirty. At least we won't have that problem anymore. There we go. There it goes. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. Looks pretty good. I'll bet this would do a pretty good job on the milling machine. I might have to take that over there. Let's see how this goes together. That's alright. I think we could probably go ahead and start assembling this. This bushing has to go in first. Then this. Right? Or this way. That goes that way. And then this goes between them. Like that. Well, I'm not hating that. Okay, that's in. Yeah. There's our set screw right there. Liking that so far. Let's see how the stuff in the rust remover is going. So we need some of the bolts out of there if we want to assemble this thing. Like these guys here. These are looking all right. I feel like these should have had washers under the heads. This goes in here, and this should be a brake. Yep. So that works good. Okay, I got this index pin working. No reason not to now. So we got our disc. Okay, I think these go on next. Like a so. Next. This has to go on first, I believe. Little spacer. This worked really well on the dividing head. Let's see what it does on the table. Well, I gotta say that works real nice. A couple little dings. All right, let's move to the other side. This side is definitely worse than the other side. It's working exceptionally well. What it'll do over here, it's gonna get stuck on everything is what's gonna happen. That actually worked much better than I expected. This comes out further than I expected. That didn't work nearly as well. I am really liking the way this is turning out. I think we will spray these couple of areas that are being stubborn. Maybe hit them on Monday. All right, well, here's hoping that third time is finally the charm, and this is the right overload relay to fit this contactor. First of all, does this fit? Yes, it does. Amazing how things work when you have the right piece. Okay. Okay. Okay, the last thing I need to do is tighten up this nut that sets the preload on the bearings of the spindle of this. And I mentioned earlier that I was going to make a wrench for this nut, and I've gone ahead and done that. I drew it up in Fusion and had the guys at the laser shop cut it out for me. So this should be much nicer than hammering on it with a chisel. Now we just need to find where one of the tabs comes closest to one of the notches. That looks like a good one. There we go. So this is a Carroll 10-inch dividing head. It's a pretty heavy-duty unit. And let's talk a little bit about exactly how it works. So these 3 nuts on the face, they allow you to tilt it. So if you loosen these up, this whole head can tilt to pretty much any angle, and there is a scale right here where you can determine exactly what angle you're at. Now, a dividing head can be used for any number of different things. If you're wanting to make gears, or you need to drill predetermined hole spacing, all sorts of different things. And you do that with these discs on the back. These discs have different spacings, and you have a spring-loaded pin that you can drop into these different holes. And there's a 40-to-1 gear ratio here. So every time you spin this 40 times, the main chuck spins once. And there's other hole spacings available. So you just pick the one you need for the spacing you want. You don't have to do full turns. You could do a turn plus 3 spaces. These are called sector arms, and you can use these to set your spacing. So let's say we're in this hole right here, and our formula for how many spaces we need tells us to turn 1 turn plus 5 spaces. So we'd go around the whole way, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you just drop into that next hole. And then you slide these up so they're ready for the next time. Normally these index plates bolt onto the front. This one is adjustable, so if you loosen a screw here, the whole index plate can turn slightly, and that allows you to, for instance, repair a gear that's already made. You could put a gear in here, and you can line it up to the teeth that are already cut and slide this back and forth till it's lined up just perfectly. This head can also do what they call direct indexing. There's an index plate on the front of the head where this little guy comes into play. And to use that, you have to disengage this. And to disengage this, you loosen this like that. And then once that's disengaged, this handle will spin out. And with this handle spun out, this thing can spin freely. And the front index plate has 24 notches, so any sort of spacing you want that is evenly divisible into 24, you can use up here. So very versatile. You can use it for all sorts of different things. And then, of course, you also have a tailstock you can use with it to support long items. This is a tool that I've wanted for a very long time that I could never justify purchasing. And I'm just really glad that this machine came with it and that it cleaned up so well. So the last thing I need to do to have a functioning machine is to see if I can get that digital readout working. And I've already started working on that, so if you want to see how it turns out, click that link to the left and come along for the ride.
And then we're going to see if this comes off, and then we're going to come back in and maybe do if it's not off.
Yep, we'll just let this sit for a while.